Hello.
Hello.
Nice background.
I had a coffee chat and forgot to remove it.
Yeah, keep it. It's great. Awesome. So, welcome everyone. Final delivery weekly of the year. So, yeah, make it a good one, right? There's no pressure. This has to be our best one yet. So, a couple of announcements. First one, this one came up today. It's been recommended that you redact all personal information off your receipts before you upload them to Expensify. Cool. And I opened up an issue for Q4 OKR. So rough thinking on this one is we're going to need to get started on Q1 OKRs when we get back after Christmas. So if you've got any thoughts about things we can continue to do well or that we should be doing better, if you can stick them in so that we can make the next round even better than this one. But I'm hoping that it won't be quite so difficult to get the next, like the Q1 OKRs, because I don't think we'll be changing direction so much. Like I think we've got a lot of stuff in progress and it's likely we'll kind of just continue from there. So it shouldn't be quite as difficult as it was this month, but still be good to get those going earlier. Awesome. So discussion. So there's quite a lot of handing over of release management responsibilities for the next few weeks. So I thought it'd just be helpful, just in case anyone needs to know as well, like over the next few weeks, like who is currently in charge. Here is the rough plan. What I need to, I'm assuming, but I need to confirm, I'm assuming on the 24th that when I sign off, I will pause all of the auto deploy stuff since we have a hard production changelog on the 25th, but I'll confirm that with Marin. And then, yeah, we'll kick off New Year with a security release. So it'll be fun. But yeah, over to Jarvis, the one bit I was going to ask about. So yeah, when do you want to squeeze in the Helm 3 upgrade?
Yeah, this is tricky because it's going to require us to block deployments to staging. There'll need to be some coordination. I'm not even sure, like we may even want to consider doing it over the weekend if we're going to be really busy that week with the security release. The problem here is that we don't really know how long we'll need to block deployments because we don't know what issues we're going to run into. I would say like probably the worst case would be 4 to 6 hours, which is a long time to block deployments. Best case is probably 1 hour.
We should try to coordinate as much as we can with Graham when he's back next year, because we don't do any deployments during APAC time. Well, we do some deployments, but they don't continue forward. So APAC would be a prime time to get that work done because it doesn't impact us when we're doing release work.
True. Another option is that we start off with GitLab Helm files, which doesn't, won't impact the GitLab deploys. So maybe, why don't we do that? How about we say we start with GitLab Helm files this time instead of the other way around?
Do we need to make this during the security release week? Can't we just postpone one of the two activities?
We could postpone it, but maybe I think, how about we say that we'll leave GitLab alone. We'll leave the GitLab release alone, so we'll keep that on Helm 2, and then we'll start the GitLab Helm files, which is all the monitoring infrastructure, logging infrastructure. We do that during the week of the 4th. That way we don't have to stop deployments. Well, we would stop deployments, but only to Helm files, which we have more control over.
It sounds reasonable to me. I mean, I was just trying to not have two blocking activities on on the same week, because there's
Yeah.
also the complexity of the release process itself. Not so that was my thing. So if something we can do, I think we should split the thing so that we can do security release and the monitoring infra on the same week, and then the rest of the production.
If something did go wrong, is it something we could back out, or is it sort of once we've started, we're committed?
It's sort of like we're committing once we start. It's kind of a pain to clean up once you start migrating data. The tooling just makes it so that it's really easy to do this migration, but it doesn't make it easy to undo the migration and start over. So I would prefer if we just try to move forward instead of going backwards if we can avoid it.
Okay.
So like the problem, at least with pre-prod, the problem was not with the GitLab release as much as it was with the GitLab Helm files releases, like the logging, monitoring, Prometheus operator especially. So I think like if we get that out of the way on the 4th, we'll probably be in good shape to GitLab the next week and then be done.
Is there any opportunity to do it before the 4th? Like, how are you ready theoretically to be able to do staging this week? Like,
yeah, we actually could. Yeah, that's an option too. Skarbek, what do you think about that?
In my opinion, it is too close to the holiday schedule where a lot of people aren't going to be around. I'd hate to get something started and then you're working till midnight fixing staging, rolling backwards if something went wrong. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think like with this week kind of being a short week, I would prefer to wait as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Let's start on the 4th. Let's start on the 4th.
Okay, great. Let's do that. Cool. Cool. Myra.
Yep. So since we basically have sort of a day between Alessio's time and mine to wrap up the first patch release, I wonder if we should start it after 30.7 is completed. So like a broad plan, I could start the patch on my afternoon, because we normally grab 30.7 on, European time. So I can start it on my afternoon and then to have the whole Wednesday, to wrap it up.
It sounds good to me. I mean, if we don't have any other problems, there's no problem for me.
Yeah, makes sense. We probably just need to make sure on Wednesday morning we double check whether there's any new fixes, because my fairly big concern, I actually, a lot has already been merged in. So I think a lot of people finished last week and merged patch fixes in already. But my concern is we'll release tomorrow, something will get detected afterwards and fixed. And obviously, once we've got this patch out, we won't be patching again till January. So, but yeah, it sounds sensible. There is one P1 S1 that got flagged up today. So the fix is merged and ready to go. So we will need to patch this year for sure. Cool. Alessio.
Sure. So I was thinking that maybe we should add who is you, Amy, and also Maring to the schedule for this release, so that you all got part of the release manager's Slack handle, and then once you are no longer covering, we can just remove you, because every day we refresh the handle, so that in case of Slack notification, they will reach the right people.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I'll send that over for review. But yeah, that's an idea. Cool. Awesome. So Alessio.
Oh yes, it was still my point. Yeah. So this morning Amy was looking at the stable branches, and there was this question about if the pipeline were actually green or not, if we could continue. So I spent a bit of time trying to understand what happened with Godfat, because I don't Lean.
Jen, I
Jen,
think this is,
yeah. So, and the thing is that we have optimization for the pipelines. So if we only change version files or QA tests or whatever, they only run a subset of it. But so this means that, for instance, on the stable branches, we were able to have a full pipeline only because we also tagged RC42, and tags have the complete pipeline. So the same commit had basically an empty pipeline, just a skipped job and nothing else, plus the full pipeline for the tag. So yeah, this is more about not only the problem at hand, so being able to run a real pipeline on stable branches before we tag, but also as a more general approach in how can we keep up, can we be updated on what is happening in terms of engineering productivity changing the pipelines and the effect that this may have on stable branches, because usually we don't touch stable branches and then it's time to tag and maybe all the logic around our CI completely changed.
Is one of the ideas here, Alessio, to do like, whenever we update a file, we just do a CI skip always, and then we force a pipeline run so that we're in full control of when pipelines.
Yeah, this is what was proposed, because making sure that on stable branches we run everything is kind of a huge overhaul of our pipeline configuration. So to resolve this on master branches, the engineering productivity team made a scheduled job. So every 2 hours, I think, I'm not sure, we ran a complete pipeline set on master. But the idea is that doing the same on the stable branches is kind of a waste of CPU time and runner times, because they don't change that often. But maybe we could trigger this pipeline as part of release tools, so that we know that we are going to release something later on. So just run the pipeline and then we will figure out the outcome.
I think periodically running pipelines on stables might be nice to do, maybe on a lower frequency because of backports, maybe once a week or something, if they already are doing this on master.
Yeah, it makes sense. But if it's once a week, you may be willing to know if it's green now and the schedule will be in a 1 week time.
Yeah.
So yes, we can still have it because it's important, but I think that we need something when we want to release.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
So maybe prior to starting a patch, when we know a patch release is coming, maybe we add a step where go ahead, kick off a set of CI jobs that runs the pipeline for the targeted stable branches ahead of time. So we know before starting the rest of the procedure, we know what we're starting off with.
Yeah, this, or even when we, for instance, we bump the version files or things like that. So because, yeah, when we do RC42, we bump the version file. So maybe we can just bump it and trigger. I mean, it's just, we can think about this asynchronously. I wrote this down in an issue. And
yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for bringing that up, Alessio. I'll also, I'll follow up with quality as well about how we can get visibility of this stuff. As a general request, what are we asking for? We're asking for an update on anything, on any stable branch, or something broader?
I think that is the problem is more on our side, because they are doing a great job on updating everyone in Engineering Week in review. So is maybe just, we should just force ourselves to think about it in terms of stable branches and the effects that we have, that this will have on our work. Because I usually read it, but sometimes I don't even think about this type of effects. But again, if we run this on schedule, probably we'll start catching errors even before writing.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, cool. Let's try and maybe wrap that into delivery weeklies then going forwards, because on a Monday, hopefully everyone's read engineering, we can review, we can have a quick chat about if there's anything we should think about. That makes sense. Cool. Okay. Because yeah, there's quite a lot of changes, I think, coming over speeding up. Like, well, one of the big projects is running tests in parallel and speeding up things, and also then starting to not running tests in parallel, only running the tests that you need to run. So the impacted tests, which we need to make sure, I think, we don't get affected by, because obviously we always want to run everything. But it will also be worth keeping in mind, like, it'll be interesting to see what happens when that does come in, because engineers will be committing code. They won't be running the full suite of tests. So it'll be worth us keeping track of whether we're actually seeing more test failures in our pipelines as well. So yeah, okay, that all sounds like we should definitely be talking about that stuff. Awesome. Anything else on that topic? Cool. So then one final little thing. So just there's quite a lot of things going on at the moment. So just to kind of like a little bit of visibility for early January, one of the big ones will be doing the work to that Myra's put into start preparing us for the renaming of the master branch. And if you want to share any more on that one, Myra, or send people off to read things.
Yeah, so just very quickly, I think it is the create team or the source team that is planning to do a rename from master to main. And I think it is going to be in the first, perhaps February or March. I am not clear in the end date, but for that, we will need to be prepared on the release tools. So when the transition is made, nothing is like corrupted in our side. So yeah, there is an epic for that. That I can link in some moments.
Cool, thanks for that. So that's going to be one. There is also Skarbek, your work that you're doing with Geo. No?
I'm just a participating member. I created an epic to track the needs for changes related to chef work and our release tooling, specifically the deployer. I made sure that the issues I created associated with that epic are on both Alessio's and Jarvis radars. But yeah, I don't suspect we'll be scheduling work anytime soon. Like, I asked the question with the team as like, when do we expect work to be, done? And no one really had a straightforward answer. So at this point, everything's backlogged or unscheduled or planning or whatever we call it.
Thanks for putting that in. And we have another one that's sort of related, which is the CAS, so the Kubernetes agent service. Similar, it's going to need a little bit of work from us at some point to deploy the service, but it's not ready right now. We're waiting on some some work to do from observability to make sure there's actually visibility of this thing once it goes to production. And then similarly, registry is also a little bit similar. At some point in the future, they'll need some deployment stuff. They're adding a database, so we need to help them get deployments through to their database, but no request on that right now. So all of those things kind of in the pipeline at various points in the future.
I was thinking about this in the past when first time the new register thing came out, and then also CAS came out more or less at the same time. So what I was thinking is, as the delivery team, maybe we should consider kind of, I would not say building a framework, but kind of a set of rules for creating new components, because if this is going to become even more frequent, I don't want to just do the same thing over and over again. So having something like not only the production readiness things, but also in order for us to release something on your behalf, it has to be done this way, or you have to provide this merge requests to implement it in release tools or whatever, so that there's a checklist or something to guide engineers to when they want to release something.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. That makes a lot of sense. And then hopefully it'll help people kind of self-serve in what they're going to need. Because, for example, registry is quite a straightforward one that we require them to have some additional tests. Maybe there are other things like that we can we always ask for. So yeah, that's a really great idea. Cool.
Do we need to be concerned about our OKRs for the next quarter? Because this sounds like a lot that's coming down the pipeline from other teams.
I think we need to be concerned in that we will need to make sure we're prioritizing. So I think it's a case of there will be certainly work that we'll need to prioritize over what we planned, but maybe not all of it. So yeah, let's make sure we keep asking those questions, and then I'll make sure that I keep feeding that back and updating on the OKRs. I'll be doing another update on all the OKR issues this week. A lot of it is trying to highlight that we are doing a lot of work and we're doing a lot of kind of foundational things. However, we're also doing a lot of other things. So yeah, I'll make sure we keep on sharing that. So yeah, we definitely need to, we can't do everything, certainly. So if we do have to pick up other things, we will put down something else. So I think if you hear of anything, or if you suspect there are other things that we may need to be involved in, then flag them up as soon as you can, really, so that we can actually work those in. But yeah, I'll make a first pass of the checklist, Alessio, and then we can kind of all kind of contribute on that one. So I'll open up an MR for that. Awesome. Is there anything else on that or any other topic? Okay, I'll stop the recording.